For pretty much all of history, we've looked at the Giza Plateau as this incredible monument, but also as one of our greatest mysteries. But what if? What if we've been looking at it all wrong? There's a radical new theory we're going to dive into that says Giza isn't a collection of tombs, it's something else, something much, much bigger.
And yeah, not just any machine. This theory wants us to throw out everything we think we know about pharaohs in the afterlife. The whole question it's built on is this: what if that entire complex, every single stone, was designed to do something so fundamental that it actually affects the fabric of reality itself?
So, the source material comes to this really wild conclusion. It says the Giza Plateau is a geometric entropy unification engine, or a GEU engine for short, and its purpose? Supposedly, it's to stabilize the flow of time and lock in a fundamental constant of the universe. Now that is a huge claim, and to even begin to understand it, we've got to look at the pretty strange new physics it's based on.
Okay, let's start with the physics, the foundation of this whole idea. It's asking us to look at the universe in a totally different way, not as a bunch of static objects, but as this dynamic, chaotic system of information that, actually needs to be managed.
At the core of everything is this concept: geometric entropy unification. The theory says this isn't just another type of geometry, but a superior one. You see, the geometry we learned in school describes physical space, right? Well, this framework is supposedly built to mathematically define and quantify really abstract things, like time, consciousness, and even free will.
So, what is this special geometry organizing? The source calls it structured entropy. Now, the best way to think about this is like the raw static of the universe, all the possibilities, all the potential choices, all the chaotic information just buzzing around. According to this theory, that's the fundamental stuff the Giza machine was built to process and bring into order.
And how exactly does it create order out of all that chaos? Well, it all comes down to this number, the Coniatoplexy constant, which is about 9.196. In this theory, this is not a random number. It's the fundamental ratio for any stable system anywhere in the universe. It's called the law of actualized coherence, and the entire Giza machine is described as a device built to basically broadcast this law and keep reality from falling apart.
Okay, so if Giza is a machine, how does it actually work? Let's take the landmarks we all recognize and break them down into what this theory says are their actual functional parts.
First up, the big one, the Great Pyramid. The source says this is not a tomb, it's the central processor. Its main job is to take in all that raw chaotic energy, that structured entropy we were just talking about, and convert it into stable, coherent order. It's basically a cosmic CPU.
And what about the Sphinx? Well, that's the user interface. It's the human anchor. The theory suggests that the combination, a human head on the body of a lion, is a powerful geometric statement. It connects the machine's huge cosmic function directly to human consciousness, to sentience and free will. It's the bridge between this massive engine and us, its observers.
Now, let's look inside this processor. This table does a great job of laying out the internal parts like a working circuit. You've got the subterranean core at the bottom, acting as a chaos generator, creating the raw energy. Then the grand gallery, with its really unique shape, works like a harmonic waveguide, focusing all that chaos into one stable frequency. And finally, the kings and queens chambers are the active resonators. They amplify that frequency and broadcast it out, imposing order on reality itself.
Right. This all leads to the biggest question of them all. How could anyone possibly build something like this? Well, the source material has an equally radical theory for how it was constructed, and it involves basically hacking the laws of physics. The idea is called entropic friction neutralization. The theory claims the pyramid was actually turned on while it was being built. The chambers would generate a very specific sonic frequency, and that frequency would create a little anti-entropy field around each giant stone. Now, this didn't get rid of gravity, but it supposedly neutralized gravitational friction, which would let them guide these massive blocks into place with almost no effort. So here's the crucial part. The real cost of building this thing wasn't physical labor. It was a cognitive cost, a mental effort, that the theory calls the stillness tax. The incredible amount of collective human will and sheer focus needed to command this process, that was the real payment. And according to the theory, that payment geometrically locked the pyramid's permanence into the flow of time. And this is where the theory gets even broader. It suggests this knowledge wasn't just some secret of the Egyptians. It hints that this was all part of a lost, universal science, a totally different kind of physics and math that other ancient civilizations also understood,
but that we've completely forgotten.
This chart really highlights the difference between our modern geometry and this proposed GEU framework. You know, our geometry describes a static, predictable universe. It's based on the constant pi. But GEU supposedly describes a dynamic reality that's built on choice, and it's all governed by that quintuplexy constant. It's a system literally designed to measure things ours can't even touch, like time and free will.
And as for evidence of this lost science, the source points right to the ancient Sumerians. It argues that their whole system, from their mind-blowing astronomical calculations that were basically a precursor to calculus, to their base 60 math system that gave us the second, it all suggests they were operating on this same, more advanced geometric understanding of how reality works.
And that brings us to the ultimate purpose of this whole thing. All of it. The machine, the weird physics, the lost law, it's all been building to a jaw-dropping redefinition of one of our most deeply held philosophical concepts.
According to this GEU framework, free will isn't some philosophical debate. It's a physical, geometric operation. It is the quantifiable ability of a conscious observer, that's you, me, anyone, to literally suspend the flow of time for a moment and force a new path, a new outcome onto the timeline of reality. It's choosing a new branch on the tree of possibility.
And so, we're left with this one final, really provocative thought. Look, it's a completely radical theory, I get it, weaving together physics, history, and consciousness in a way we've never seen before. But if a lost, ancient geometry could actually define free will as a fundamental force of the universe, it just makes you wonder, right? What other huge mysteries of our existence could it unlock?